The mornings in the small Vermont town were always wrapped in silence. Emily Sanders gazed out the kitchen window, feeling the aroma of coffee spreading throughout the house. She was known as an excellent nurse in the pediatric ward of the local hospital, but this morning, she carried an inexplicable unease deep in her heart. "Good morning, Mom." 8-year-old Sophia came running down the stairs. She was an energetic girl with golden hair tied back, always wearing a smile. Emily turned around and smiled at her daughter. "Good morning, Sophia. You have PE today, don't you?" "Yes. We have relay practice." "But..." Sophia's face clouded slightly. "I get tired easily sometimes, so Dad says, don't push yourself too hard." A small thorn pierced Emily's chest. Michael always worried about Sophia in such detail, as if she were a fragile doll. As a nurse, Emily had seen many children, but Sophia seemed perfectly healthy to her. "Where's Dad?" "He's taking a shower." "Tonight I'm taking a bath with Dad again." Sophia's eyes sparkled. "Dad says our baths are special time." Emily's hand stopped. Michael and Sophia took long baths together every night. An hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. Whenever Emily tried to join them, Michael always found an excuse to decline. "Why don't I join you?" "I'll ask next time," Sophia suggested innocently. "No, that's okay. It's Dad and Sophia's special time, right?" Emily forced a smile. Michael appeared in the kitchen. Before working at the fire station, he had been a paramedic. He had a sturdy build and gentle brown eyes. But lately, Emily felt like he was hiding something from her. "Good morning." Michael gave Emily a light kiss on the cheek. It was their usual morning ritual, but there was something distant about it. "Sophia, breakfast is ready." Emily placed pancakes in front of her daughter. During the meal, Michael and Sophia were talking in low voices about something. Emily couldn't hear them, but it was clear there was a special bond between the two. Sophia looked up at Michael, occasionally nodding slightly. "What are you talking about?" Emily asked. "It's a secret," Sophia giggled. "It's a promise with Dad." Michael wouldn't meet Emily's eyes. "It's nothing important. Just talking about what to be careful about at school today." Emily felt a stirring in her chest. She was bothered by the fact that there were secrets between her husband and daughter that she didn't know about. "Emily, I'll be late today, so could you pick up Sophia?" Michael said. "Of course. But overtime again. You've been working late a lot recently." "The chief asked me to handle new recruit training. It's a big responsibility." Michael stood up and patted Sophia's head. "Be a good girl. Don't forget our promise." "I won't forget," Sophia answered cheerfully. After Michael left, Emily and Sophia were alone. Emily looked at her daughter. Sophia seemed healthy, but sometimes she showed tired expressions. "Sophia, what promise do you have with Dad?" Sophia looked a bit troubled. "Dad said, keep it secret from Mom. But it's not something bad. It's something very important." Anxiety spread through Emily's heart. Why was she the only one left out of her own family? At work, she was trusted by the children and relied upon by her colleagues. Yet, she felt like there was an invisible wall between herself and her own daughter. "Mom, are you worried about me?" Sophia suddenly asked. "Why do you ask?" "Because sometimes you look sad. Dad said, Mom is very kind, so she worries too much about everyone." Emily took her daughter's hand. It was small and warm. "I'm not worried. I just want to know if you're happy." "I'm happy. Dad always protects me," Sophia smiled. "But I'd be even happier if Mom was with us too." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. Was it her own fault that she was excluded from the family circle? Maybe she was too busy with work and not spending enough time with her family. But the unease in her chest wouldn't go away. A week later, Emily's anxiety began to become reality. Sophia's cough became more noticeable. At first, she thought it was just a mild cold, but day by day the cough became more severe, especially at night when the sound of coughing echoed throughout the house. "Michael, shouldn't we take Sophia to the hospital?" Emily suggested to her husband while preparing breakfast. "She's fine. It's just the change of seasons. Let's watch her a little longer," Michael answered without looking up from his newspaper. "But I'm a nurse. That cough isn't normal." "Emily, you worry too much. Sophia is a strong kid." Michael's attitude was more stubborn than before. Whenever Emily offered medical opinions, he always interrupted and changed the subject, as if he didn't trust her professional knowledge. That afternoon, the school called. "Mrs. Sanders, we need to talk about Sophia," said Mrs. Johnson, her teacher, sounding worried. "She had severe shortness of breath during PE class, and we have her resting in the nurse's office." Emily immediately headed to the school. When she found Sophia in the nurse's office, her daughter's face was pale and her breathing was shallow. "Mom." Sophia smiled weakly. "I'm okay. Just like Dad said." "What did Dad say?" "That sometimes this happens, but not to worry. He said that because I'm doing special practice with Dad, I'll get better soon." Alarm bells rang in Emily's mind. Sophia showed a level of understanding unusual for an 8-year-old. As if she was accustomed to her own health problems. That night, Emily waited for Michael. When he came home, she immediately spoke to him. The school called. Sophia had shortness of breath during PE class. Michael's expression stiffened for a moment. "I see. She must have been tired." "Michael, this isn't normal. Are you hiding something about Sophia?" "What are you talking about?" Michael headed to the kitchen, avoiding her. "I know there are secrets between you and our daughter. The long baths every night, the conversations just between you two. And now health problems. What exactly is going on?" Michael turned around and stared at Emily. There was a severity in his eyes she had never seen before. "Emily, you're accumulating too much stress from work. Sophia is healthy. Don't worry unnecessarily." "Unnecessary worry. I'm her mother. And I'm also a nurse. Just because you're a nurse doesn't mean you should connect everything to illness." At that moment, Sophia's violent coughing could be heard from upstairs. Emily tried to rush up the stairs, but Michael grabbed her arm. "I'll go. Please don't get involved." "Why?" "I'm her mother, so why can't I take care of my daughter?" Michael didn't answer. He went upstairs and entered Sophia's room. Emily was left alone in the living room. The next day, Emily called her close friend Jennifer. Jennifer was a psychological counselor in the neighboring town. "Emily, your voice sounds really tired." "Jenny, I need to talk to you." "About Michael and Sophia." Emily told her everything about recent events. The long nightly baths, the secret conversations, Sophia's health problems, and Michael's attitude of pushing her away. "Emily." Jennifer's voice was serious. "That's concerning. Especially a father monopolizing bath time with his daughter and not letting the mother get close." "What are you trying to say?" "There are possibilities you should consider. Inappropriate relationships, or the possibility of abuse." Emily's blood ran cold. "No way, Michael would never do such a thing. I'm not making a definitive statement. But looking at the situation objectively, red flags are flashing. To protect Sophia, you might need to take action." After hanging up the phone, Emily was confused. She didn't want to believe that Michael would harm their daughter. But Jennifer's words pierced deeply into her heart. That night, Emily decided to approach the bathroom. She could hear the sound of water and low voices from inside. It was Michael's voice. "That's right, breathe in slowly, now exhale for a long time." And then, Sophia's small voice. "Dad, it hurts." "It's okay. Just a little more. You're brave, so you can do it." Emily's heart nearly stopped. She tried to determine what was happening by putting her hand on the door. "Emily." Michael's angry voice echoed through the door. As if he had sensed she was there. "Don't ever come near. This has nothing to do with you." Emily stepped back. There was an intensity in Michael's voice she had never heard before. As if he was desperately trying to protect something. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. In bed, Jennifer's words kept spinning around in her head. If Michael was really harming Sophia, as a mother, she had to protect her daughter. The next morning, Emily made up her mind. She would investigate Sophia's health problems herself. She would carefully observe her daughter's condition and consult with a doctor if necessary. And she would uncover the truth about what Michael was hiding. However, Emily didn't know at that time that what Michael was hiding was a devoted secret spanning 4 years to protect his beloved wife and daughter. At the breakfast table, Sophia coughed violently again. Emily rubbed her daughter's back while staring at Michael. He kept his eyes on the newspaper, refusing to meet his wife's gaze. "Sophia, let's stay home from school today," Emily suggested. "I'm fine, Mom," Sophia smiled. "Dad said, strong children don't give up just because they cough a little." Emily's chest tightened. It was abnormal for an 8-year-old child to have such mature thoughts. As if someone had taught her to be strong. "But if your cough gets worse, go to the nurse's office right away." "I understand," Sophia nodded obediently. "But I'll also keep my promise with Dad." Once again, the words, "promise with Dad," came up. Emily could no longer hide her anxiety. What exactly was this promise? And why was Michael trying to keep his wife out of the loop? That day, Emily couldn't concentrate at work. While caring for children in the pediatric ward, she kept thinking about her own daughter. A colleague nurse approached her with concern. "Emily, are you okay? You seem distracted today." "It's just some family matters." "Is something wrong?" Emily considered confiding in her colleague but ultimately decided against it. She didn't want to speak ill of her husband when she didn't have solid evidence yet. However, that afternoon, the school called again. This time, it was news that Sophia had collapsed during PE class. When Emily arrived at the school, an ambulance was already parked in front of the school gate. With her heart pounding violently, she ran toward the gymnasium. "Mom!" Sophia waved weakly from the stretcher. Her face was pale and her breathing was labored. But there was a strange peace in her eyes. "It's okay, Sophia. Mom is here with you." Emily held her daughter's hand. "I can't breathe, but I'll try hard using the method Dad taught me," Sophia whispered with difficulty. The paramedic explained the situation to Emily. During relay practice, Sophia suddenly stopped, clutched her chest, and collapsed. She was showing symptoms of respiratory distress and needed immediate transport to the hospital. Fortunately, the destination was St. Mary's Hospital where Emily worked. In the ambulance, Emily continued to hold Sophia's hand. Her daughter occasionally took deep breaths and slowly exhaled. This breathing technique wasn't something a child would naturally learn. "Sophia, who taught you that way of breathing?" "Dad. He calls it dragon's breath." "I practice it every day in the bath," Sophia smiled. "Dad says it's magical breathing that makes you strong like a dragon." Emily was confused. It seemed true that Michael had been teaching Sophia breathing techniques. But why? When they arrived at the hospital, Sophia was immediately taken to the emergency department. Emily was greeted by colleagues while staying by her daughter's side as a mother. "Emily, let me examine Sophia's condition," said Dr. Helen Chan, a 45-year-old pediatric pulmonologist who had worked with Emily for many years. "Please, Helen. This child has been coughing badly lately." "I understand. Let's start with X-rays and a CT scan." While the tests proceeded, Emily was consumed with anxiety in the waiting room. At the same time, she tried to contact Michael, but the fire station said he was out on an emergency call. An hour later, Dr. Chan appeared with a serious expression. "Emily, I need to talk to you. Could you come to my office?" In the office, Helen pointed to the computer screen showing Sophia's chest CT scan images. "Look at this," Helen pointed to the lower part of the lungs. "There's an abnormal shadow here. And this is..." Helen opened another screen. "Sophia's past medical records. I was looking through records from 4 years ago." Emily's heart nearly stopped. The screen showed a diagnosis of secondary pulmonary edema due to drowning accident. 4 years ago. "But I don't remember." "Emily, you might not remember, but Sophia had a drowning accident when she was 4 years old. It happened at the community pool. She regained consciousness, but water remained in her lungs." Emily's memories began to return. That summer day when a friend's child had a nosebleed and she looked away from Sophia for just a moment. When she returned, Michael was carrying Sophia out of the pool. Her daughter was coughing but soon stopped crying and smiled. But the tests said there were no abnormalities. The initial tests didn't find any major problems. But there's a record of readmission 3 days later. Symptoms of secondary drowning appeared. Helen opened another page. Looking at the attending physician's notes from that time. Patient's father requested independent respiratory therapy. Medical basis is thin, but permission granted as it causes no harm. Respiratory therapy. Yes. And regular steam inhalation and special breathing exercises were recommended to continue. Emily. Helen placed her hand on her friend's shoulder. "Please look at this. Your husband." Helen switched the screen again. There were detailed treatment records spanning 4 years. Medically speaking, this shows miraculous recovery. According to the records, Michael had consistently provided steam therapy to Sophia every day without fail. Long baths at specific temperatures, breathing exercise instruction, and an original program to promote lung function improvement. It was truly miraculous treatment that combined his knowledge as a paramedic with his love as a father. Looking at this data, Sophia's lung function has improved year by year. The severe water retention from 4 years ago has now decreased to a minor level. Emily was speechless. What Michael had been hiding wasn't abuse, but treatment to save their daughter. "But why didn't he tell me? I'm a nurse." Helen answered quietly. The chart also includes psychological counselor records. "After the accident, you were suffering from severe guilt. You repeatedly said, 'I'm a failure as a mother,' and psychiatric treatment was even considered at one point." Tears overflowed from Emily's eyes. Memories of that time came back vividly. She had blamed herself for months, thinking Sophia's drowning was due to her own carelessness. Michael might have hidden the truth because he was afraid you would blame yourself even more. And he seems to have explained the treatment to Sophia as special training to keep mom from being sad. Special training. Emily whispered with a trembling voice. She finally understood the meaning of Sophia's occasional mentions of promise with dad and special time. What caused today's attack? Excessive strain from exercise. While her lung condition has improved, it's still not completely healed. However, if Michael's treatment method continues, there's sufficient possibility of complete recovery. At that moment, a call came from the emergency department. Michael had arrived. Emily stood up. Thinking about the magnitude of the burden her husband had carried alone for 4 years made her chest feel like it would burst. She was ashamed of her own ignorance and suspicion. And at the same time, she was moved by Michael's deep love. "Helen, thank you. Thank you for telling me the truth. Emily, you're a wonderful mother. It's just that sometimes the desire to protect those we love can make the truth invisible. But now, all three of you can work together to completely heal Sophia." Emily nodded. She wanted to rush to Michael immediately and express her gratitude for his 4 years of dedication. And from now on, she wanted the three of them to work together towards Sophia's complete recovery. When Emily returned to the emergency department, Michael was holding Sophia's hand beside her bed. His face was pale, with deep fatigue showing. The burden of a man who had protected his daughter's life alone for 4 years seemed etched into his shoulders. "Dad," Sophia smiled. "I worked hard with Dragon's Breath." The doctors were surprised too. "You did well, Sophia," Michael kissed his daughter's forehead. "You're really brave." Emily stood at the room's entrance. All the conversations between the two that she couldn't understand before now became clear. Sophia's "I worked hard" meant she had faced the respiratory distress attack using the breathing method her father taught her. Michael noticed Emily. There was fear in his eyes. He probably sensed that his wife had learned the truth. "Emily." "Michael," Emily approached quietly. "Dr. Chan told me everything." Michael's shoulders sagged. As if the burden he had carried for years had finally surfaced. "I'm sorry," he said in a trembling voice. "I'm truly sorry for deceiving you." Emily sat next to her husband. Sophia was sleeping due to the medication's effects. Their time alone had begun. "Why didn't you tell me? I'm a nurse. We could have treated our daughter together." Michael was silent for a long time. Then he began to speak about the memories of that day 4 years ago. "That day, you saw your friend's child get a nosebleed and immediately treated him. It was your instinct as a nurse. It was only 2 minutes, but during that time Sophia had moved to the deep pool area." Emily's chest ached. The memory of that time came back vividly. "When I turned around, Sophia was struggling in the water. For a moment, time seemed to stop. When I jumped in and pulled her out, she had lost consciousness." Michael's voice was trembling. "I revived her with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but she had swallowed a lot of water. The first hospital examination said there were no abnormalities, but as a paramedic, I knew the danger of secondary drowning. So she was readmitted 3 days later." "That's right. At that time, you were completely blaming yourself. You kept repeating, 'It's my fault, and I'm a failure as a mother.' The counselor was also seriously concerned about your mental state." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. She remembered the despair of that time. The guilt of endangering her daughter through her own carelessness had indeed threatened to crush her. The doctor recommended regular hospital visits and steam therapy. "But seeing your condition, I made a decision. I didn't want to burden you any further. So you continued the treatment alone. At first, I consulted with the doctor. But as Sophia's symptoms improved, I developed my own methods. I combined the knowledge I learned as a paramedic with my intuition as a father." Michael continued his explanation. The long nightly baths were aimed at lung cleansing effects through steam. By maintaining specific temperature and humidity, they gradually expelled the water remaining in her lungs. Dragon's Breath was a method I devised so Sophia could continue respiratory therapy while having fun. Deep breathing, long breathing, and a combination of abdominal breathing. This gradually restored her lung function. "But why did you completely exclude me? I could have helped." Michael looked at his wife. There was deep love and pain in his eyes. I knew you had been blaming yourself since that day. If I had told you about the treatment, you would have blamed yourself even more. Why didn't I notice? Why couldn't I help? Emily's chest tightened. Indeed, if she had known the truth 4 years ago, her feelings of self-blame would have become even stronger. Besides, Michael continued, you're saving many children at work. With your expertise and kindness, how many families have been saved? I wanted you to continue that work. I was afraid that family problems would cloud your talent. Michael. I explained to Sophia that it was special training to keep Mom from being sad. A secret promise with Dad to protect you. Emily's tears wouldn't stop. Thinking of her husband's deep love and her daughter's devotion made her chest feel like it would burst. I knew you suspected us, Michael smiled bitterly. Recently, I could see distrust in your eyes. But the treatment was almost complete. Once it was finished, I planned to tell you everything. I was thinking the worst, Emily said shamefully. I thought you might be harming Sophia. Michael looked surprised. But he quickly showed an understanding expression. I see, the long nightly baths, secret conversations, my attitude of not letting you get close. Looking at it objectively, it certainly would seem suspicious. I'm sorry. I couldn't believe you, I'm truly sorry. Michael took Emily's hand. I'm the one who should apologize. If I had trusted you, we could have treated our daughter together. I didn't need to bear it all alone. At that moment, Sophia woke up. Mom, Dad, why are you crying? Emily approached her daughter's bed. Sophia, Mom finally understands how brave you've been. You've been continuing very difficult training with Dad, haven't you? Sophia smiled happily. Does Mom know too? About Dragon's Breath? Yes. And I know it was very important treatment to make you strong. Sophia looked at both her parents. Dad said, someday there will be a day when we can teach Mom too. Is today that day? Michael and Emily looked at each other. That's right, Sophia, Michael answered. From today, Mom will help with your treatment too. Yay! Sophia clapped her hands. Can Mom become a dragon too? Emily held her daughter's hand. Yes. Mom wants to become a dragon with you and Dad. For the first time, the family of 3 shared the truth. The moment when 4 years of secrets were revealed and new family bonds were born. Dr. Chan entered the room. How are you feeling? You should be able to go home tomorrow. Thank you, Emily answered. We'd like to discuss future treatment plans as a family. Of course. Michael's treatment method has achieved wonderful results. We can officially support it too. Michael showed an expression of relief. He was finally freed from the pressure of bearing responsibility alone for 4 years. That night, Emily said while holding Michael's hand. Thank you. For loving me and our daughter so much. I should thank you. Because you're here, I was able to keep going. Sophia slept between her parents. Her sleeping face was peaceful, as if a long storm had finally passed. The next day, Sophia was safely discharged. In the car going home, she spoke happily to her parents. Tonight, will Mom take a bath with us too? Yes, of course, Emily smiled at her daughter from the back seat. I'd like you to teach me Dragon's Breath. Michael looked at Emily through the rearview mirror while driving. For the first time in 4 years, the family was truly becoming one. That night, laughter echoed in the Sanders family bathroom. For the first time, Emily witnessed the treatment her husband and daughter had been doing every night. Michael's guidance was precise and gentle, and Sophia cheerfully repeated deep breathing. Mom, this is how you breathe like a dragon, Sophia demonstrated. And then you exhale slowly like making clouds. Emily tried the breathing method too. The warm steam filled her lungs, and she understood physically why this method was effective. Michael, this really is a wonderful treatment method. I devised it so Sophia could enjoy it. With love, even treatment becomes play. 3 months later, the family heard good news in Dr. Chan's examination room. I can't believe it. Sophia's lung function has recovered to almost normal levels, Helen said while looking at the test results. If treatment continues like this, there's a high possibility of complete recovery. Emily teared up. The long journey of 4 years was finally showing hope. Doctor, would it be okay to start swimming? Sophia asked. Gradually, yes. But I'm sure you'll become a fine swimmer. The family then began attending a local swimming club. Sophia, who was initially hesitant, gradually got used to the water with encouragement from Michael and Emily. The lung capacity she had built through Dragon's Breath was very helpful for swimming. A year later in spring, Sophia's lungs had completely recovered. Dr. Chan declared, medically speaking, you're completely cured. That day, the family visited that community pool for the first time in a long while. Aren't you scared? Emily asked her daughter. I'm fine, Mom. Dad and Mom are here, Sophia showed a confident smile. This time, Sophia entered the water of her own will and swam with beautiful freestyle strokes. The accident site from 4 years ago had now become a symbol of hope. Time passed, and Sophia became a high school student. She excelled as the ace of the swimming team and finally achieved victory at the state championships. Standing on the podium with a gold medal, she looked at her parents in the audience. I dedicate this victory to the family that saved me. Sophia's speech moved the entire venue. She had grown this far supported by the mental strength learned from Dragon's Breath and her family's love. That night, the family took a bath together for the first time in a while. No longer for treatment, but simply as time spent together. Mom, do you remember Dragon's Breath? Sophia asked with a laugh. Of course. It's the most important thing you both taught me. Emily took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. It wasn't just a breathing technique, but also a ritual to confirm family bonds. Michael thought as he watched his wife and daughter, the accident 4 years ago was certainly a painful event, but because of it, the family was able to be connected by deeper bonds. The pain of keeping secrets and the joy of knowing the truth all led to their current happiness. Thank you, Emily said quietly. Both of you, truly thank you. Warm steam filled the bathroom, and the laughter of 3 people echoed. The Sanders family's long storm had completely passed, and now peaceful, love-filled days continued. Outside the window, stars shone in the Vermont night sky, as if blessing this family's future.